That's the Republican Senator Tim Scott there giving the official response to Joe Biden's speech in Congress marking his 100 days in office. Well, to get a Republican view of Mr. Biden's proposals and analysis of his first 100 days in office, I'm joined now from Florida by the Republican strategist Erol Morkoc. Great to see you again, Erol. So Mr. Biden touting his success with the coronavirus vaccine, touting the economic growth and jobs growth that's happened in the first 100 days of his presidency. But then I suppose someone like yourself, who's a Republican strategist, will say that at least some of it is momentum from the Trump presidency carrying over into the Biden administration. Is that right so far?
Absolutely, and we're actually quite pleased to see that. We're happy that President Biden has taken Operation Warp Speed, and he has gotten out a record amount of vaccines as per the Trump agenda and the Trump plan. Keep in mind, Joe Biden goes out there and says America was on fire 100 days ago. I didn't even have a vaccine. And Dr. Fauci came out and contradicted him. Now, unlike the Democrats, we're not trying to politicize this. We're not trying to say, Joe Biden is doing a poor job. We're not criticizing the rollout. We're not putting it down because it's a great plan. And it's a great plan that President Trump and the Republican Party worked swiftly to help. Now, if they want to, let's say, be covetous and take credit, by all means take credit. But the American people know that certainly Joe Biden's catalyst for this vaccine has been from the Trump administration. And thankfully, the economy has not collapsed through all of this. We had a great steward in President Trump who handed off literally the greatest economy in recorded world history. I'm an economic historian. You've never seen a parallel to it that hasn't happened after a wartime. So Joe Biden's having tremendous economic success, job numbers that are coming out of the groundwork we laid. And that is sort of the presidential system. We definitely left a great country for him to hopefully, keep making great. But he seems to want to look at Bernie Sanders, AOC, and these sort of, great new society ideas from the 60s and misconstrue that. And hopefully he doesn't take us in the wrong direction. Time will tell.
Well, that brings me rather nicely to the next bit of this conversation, which is what did you make of that laundry list of programs he wants to fund, particularly his infrastructure spending and social spending?
Oof, that's a big one to pick apart. The term infrastructure, like most things in George Orwell's universe that we seem to be living in, has a little doublespeak. If you can look at, for example, Joe Biden, his entire life, he's an Irish Catholic, great man of faith, and we always respect that. And historically, he's been anti-abortion. Now he's decided that infrastructure and abortion are hand in hand. The idea that the country is based on white supremacy and every institution is racist, so infrastructure is tearing down the fabric of society, isn't the same. When you look at some of these tax plans, for example, the tax credit, you're looking at $1.4 trillion over 10 years. But the Biden administration puts out numbers saying $420 million because they're only putting out 5-year projections. And, while that's all fun and games, the way that these things, the amortization works or reverse amortization works, is you start paying for these programs towards the back end. So they're essentially trying to bribe the American people with their own money. And when you looked at what they're talking about infrastructure, the percentage that's actually going to what traditional, normal people would consider infrastructure, perhaps a bridge, perhaps a road, perhaps improving, some of our failing, the water pipes in Flint, which is a sad state in our country. Maybe that could be a positive part of infrastructure. It's a Democrat proposal, but I'm here as a Republican conceding, yeah, we should replace all those pipes. So there's infrastructure, and then there's social reorganization, social engineering. The Green New Deal is the first, let's say, proposal that would actually weaken the American economy, unless, of course, you do it in debt-filled equity. I'm sorry, not equity. You do it in a debt-fueled a way of quantitative easing where you're pumping trillions and trillions of dollars into the economy. Keep in mind, this has to all be paid back, or you need to inflate your way out of debt. Since 1588, no country's actually paid off their debt directly without inflation, whether it's they lowered the quantity in silver or they lowered the value of their currency. And as you debase the currency, the working class is going to be hit with things like gas prices going up by a factor of 6. You look at lumber prices at 200%. Somebody who wanted to build a deck in 2017 for their backyard, that deck is almost 3 times the price. And you put all those things together, it's a recipe for complete society dependence on the government, which is what the Democrat Party makes their bread and butter. They don't want individuals. They don't want creation. They want people dependent. That's puts into their
Right.
new tax structure that they're trying to tax the business people who they demonize